Thanks for staying tuned. I'm Stanford Howard with your December 2nd Monday edition of the HGP Sportscast. We start with some hockey news. Trinidadian clubs cop all three titles in the veterans, male and female categories at the 15th annual Diamond Hockey Festival. More in this report. It was a great moment for the Guyanese side when they tried to rival their Trini counterparts in the hockey festival. On Sunday in the finals, the veteran category witnessed Queen's Park Cricket Club went up against the Stalwarts Bounty GCC, a game which proved an uphill task for the locals. Despite a late start from GCC that got the game within reach, it was QPCC that showcased their wealth of knowledge and skills and was crowned the Lucozade over 35 division winners with an 11-8 victory. Here are some highlights of the Battle of Sticks. Up next in the finals were the 9-time winners, the GBTI ladies, who took on the TNT George United in a battle that once again had the crowd on the edge of their seats. George United took first bite at goal, but it was the former champs who showed resilience and bagged their goals in rapid succession to give them a fighting chance. Nevertheless, the women from the Twin Island Republic stood their ground to capture the title 5-4. Here are some highlights of that match. Speaking to the media relatively after the match was the Trinidadian captain, Brianna Govile.
Because they came back and scored 3 goals that, like, one more they would have been equalizing and stuff, so we can't afford to do that, but all in all we won. So. Well, we have history here, all of us, we come every year and they keep beating us with like 1 goal in the final, so it feels really good to come back and beat them, finally.
The final match of the Guyana indoor hockey season were the also powerful Hikers who drew battle with Queen's Park Cricket Club. This match went the distance and was full with nail-biting moments throughout the 4 quarters as the game went into a penalty shootout. The game, which was a stalemate up until halftime, was broken first in the 3rd quarter with a triple strike by QPCC side. Here are the highlights of that match. Following the Queen's Park Cricket Club win on 4-3 penalties, here's both captains talking on their team's performance.
Well, after they started to come back, I think it was just about us getting the game calm again and to our pace because they play at a higher pace on us. And just to, as I said, to calm the game down and play our game.
I think we had a lot of opportunities and we didn't execute it, and it ended up costing us in the end.
Brian Lee Chow and Darren Cow, both of QPC, picked up the best goalkeepers and MVP trophies respectively, while Kevin Spencer of GCC Vintage finished with a tally of 14 to pick up the highest goal scorer trophy. Champions in the men's and women's open pocketed US $1,000, while the runners-up pocketed US $500. The winners of the Veterans Over 50-35 division cashed in on US $500. For HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard. Moving ahead with some football news. As the 592 Beer Inter-Village Football Festival continues, exciting matches are the order of the day at the Community Center ground along the east coast of Demerara. Last weekend was no different. Samuel Gillis tells us more.
2 exciting matches were staged when the inaugural 592 Beer Inter-Village Football Festival came to the Buxton Community Center ground on Sunday night. The opening match saw Brush Dam coming up against Anns Grove and brushing them clean enough to put Anns Grove on the back burner. Despite the game being at 1-1 at one point, that season did not last too long. Brush Dam then brushed past the goalkeeper of Anns Grove twice, and they were never able to bounce back. The persistence and class of Brush Dam was too much for Anns Grove. That game ended on 2-1 in favor of Brush Dam. The coach of the winning team spoke with Nightly News, spilling the beans on a notable technique when playing at Buxton ground.
We understand the ground, we know the ground. The ground, when you win the toss, it's supposed to go against the breeze, because the breeze is very much heavy.
The Brush Dam goalkeeper saved the only penalty of the night while the crowd erupted. He also spoke with Nightly News.
Because he tried to trick me, right? But I want to watch football, so I understand we have to move. and they just keep the nerve and see. I'm really nervous because if they score, they would have played me inside.
Yeah.
So I have to make up my mind, but they're ready to do it. Carry my team home.
In the second game of the night, the fans were entertained when Buxton faced Mahaika. It was Buxton who engaged Mahaika 1-0. The game was decided in the 86th minute, compliments of a Neil Hodson strike, which brought the crowd to its feet. The tournament continues on Sunday at the Golden Grove ground. The event features 12 teams battling in an initial group format. Group A comprises Buxton, Pleasance and Mahaika, with Group B consisting of Friendship, Paradise and Victoria, and Group C featuring Brush Dam, Melanie and Anns Grove. For HGP Sport, I am Samuel Gillis.
Thank you, Samuel. In volleyball, the Young Achievers is now the team to beat after coming out on top in the first version of Spike Dunk Volleyball held at the National Gymnasium at the weekend. Jaden Samuels, tell us more.
In volleyball news, 18 teams met head-on at the weekend for the first ever Spike Dunk contest, and the Achievers proved to be the best after spiking down Premier Eagles 3-0 in the final. The fast-paced tournament saw 18 teams competing from Bartica, Linden, Berbice, Georgetown and other areas in the two-day event. The competitiveness of the tournament stood out in Group A as top teams from the Asian County locked horns with the Young Achievers and Vanguard Volleyball Club. Unfortunately for Vanguard, they were out of sort and paid the price when they were outplayed by Rollers, while Portmoron Turf Club were defeated by Achievers to top Group A and take on the Group B champions, Premier Eagles. In the finals, Premier Eagles and the Young Achievers, both of whom are Demerara-based sides, but it was Achievers who proved to be the hungrier. Jaden Samuels, HGP Sport.
Wins for West Rungveld, Redeemer, Tugville, and North Georgetown primary schools have ensured that they have secured their spots in the semi-finals of the Smalter Girls Under 12 Pee Wee football tournament. More in this report. Despite the gloomy conditions over the weekend, the Smalter Girls still managed to switch into high gear at the Ministry of Education ground, Carifesta Avenue. First to take the field was North Georgetown, who battled Smith's Memorial. It was Chance who played hero again for North Georgetown as she scored the team's first goal in the 21st minute of play. But that came after Smith's Memorial Fiona Gibbs gave her team the lead when she found the back of the net in the 16th minute. With scores even at one apiece at the final whistle, Chance was once again the hero when she netted for a second time in the 31st minute. Tugville Primary wasted no time in booking their semi-final spot in Game 2 by edging past South Rungveld 1-0. Tugville's Shania Lovell scored the lone goal of the game in the 29th minute for her team's victory. In the third game, the battle between Redeemer and St. Stephen's Primary School finished with a similar score. Redeemer's Leona Hill scored in the 15th minute for the only and winning goal of the game. The final matchup of the quarterfinals, fans were able to witness defending champions West Rungveld Primary, who were made to fight for their victory as Sir Mary held them off for the entire of the regulation and extra time. Tiana George gave West Rungveld the advantage in the 8th minute. Nevertheless, Mary's Rihanna Ramkurar leveled the scores in the 18th minute. Neither side could find the back of the net during extra time, and when it came down to kicks from the penalty mark, West Rungveld proved to be the better side, winning 4-3. For HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard. Thank you, Jaden. And that's all we have for this edition of the HGP Sportscast. But do remember, many men go fishing all of their lives without knowing that it is not fish they're after. Over to you, Handel. Goodbye.